Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Well, hello, everybody. We're so glad that you joined us today. And I am joined by Dr. Alice Benton and Marc Cameron, and we're going to answer your calls. And, you know, one of the things that we talk about here all the time is the nervousness, the anxiety that comes up when we talk about seeking help, whether that is a counselor or even calling us. You know, what would you two say? Like, what is a first session like? You know, what can they expect? I know sometimes the phone call is hard enough, but, you know, how can we prepare people the best way possible for what their counseling session is going to look like or feel like?
Yeah, usually I've spoken to someone on the phone, so it's not the very first time I'm speaking to them. But I think, you know, therapeutic alliance is so key to the success of therapy. So learning just to, in that first session, I'm doing a lot of building of trust with the client. And really that starts with hearing more about their story and letting them know that, you know, repeating back to them that I know I hear them and just setting them up and showing them how I can help them and what my plan is.
And if you come through our New Life call center, we help you decide what problem do you most need to work on, and so what form of therapy would be most beneficial to you, because there are a variety of forms, some dedicated more so to recovering from trauma, others dedicated to the kind of thought life that you live with, the negative beliefs you have and how they influence your feelings and your behavior. And so at New Life, we help you narrow into what it is you need, and then we can link you with a counselor who's a good fit for you. It's also okay to interview your potential therapist before you actually meet with them, and you can let them know, I'm so nervous, I don't know how to do therapy, I want this and I don't want this at the same time, because a therapist can and really should take over to show you the steps to lead you into it and to help you deal with that anxiety. I think it's anxiety provoking for most of us. It's about time for me, Becky, to get back into my own individual therapy. I've had a season without it for a while, and really I just want a checkup from the neck up. I don't have a glaring problem, but I want to stay in the process of growth and change. And I've got a lot of imperfections. I always will. And so I just want somebody to come alongside and help me work through that again. So I'll be facing this myself too.
I love that. Now, I know you both have different approaches to counseling and therapeutic models. What would you say is your style? And just explain it just a little bit.
Well, yeah, I take an attachment-based approach, and I just think that that's so helpful just to be able to help people understand their story and how experiences that they've had in the past has impacted them. And, you know, whether I'm also helping somebody through addiction or something else like that, affair recovery, I think just knowing the beliefs that you've formed that and how they're impacting you in the present moment is so helpful.
Okay. And Alice?
I'm one of those bossy therapists, Becky. I'm pretty
shocked.
I'm pretty active and directive in my sessions. So I ask a lot of questions, and I come from a trauma-informed model of therapy. And I love to include family members in the work that I do. I find that it just really informs what one person is struggling with when we can get the feedback of a spouse or of children or siblings into it. So I like to fill up my sessions with other people if we can.
Do you know, one of the questions that we get a lot from people who are calling in for counselors is, you know, is it okay that they pray with me, or will they pray with me? And I know a lot of believing counselors, Christians, do that such thing. But I want to encourage the client, the caller, to ask for what you need, because the counselor will tell you, well, I don't really do that, or yes, I can do that, or maybe this would be a better fit. You can, you know, ask for what you need, and that's actually part of the counseling process, isn't it? We want to encourage people to use their voice to ask for what they need in so many different ways. We'll help you get connected. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we've got great people all over the country that can help you.
My girlfriends and I have been searching for so long to try to find an event to attend.
Lumina is a new women's conference designed to inspire your faith so you can lead and live confidently from God's Word.
It was nice to come here and just realign myself with who God says He is in my life.
The Lumina Conference is a 2-day experience. 1 full day of worship and teaching in Museum of the Bible's World Stage Theater, and a half-day guided tour through Museum of the Bible.
You are literally immersed in the Word of God. You can walk through the Old Testament. You can walk through the New Testament.
Lumina is for women of all generations, cultures, and denominations. It's a great place to gather with women from your church and community.
If you want some fellowship and you want to be strengthened, this is the place you want to be.
This year's Lumina Conference is October 27th and 28th in Washington, D.C.
It was absolutely life-changing.
For more information, go to luminawomen.org.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, we do have workshops all over the country. And one of the most incredible workshops, well, I think they're all most incredible, but that's because I've seen God work in those weekends. We've seen people come in on Friday, and by Sunday they got a plan and a purpose. And they, especially at our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop, which is coming up October 20th in Dallas, Texas. And we want you, if you're a married couple and you haven't done anything this year to nurture your marriage, to enrich your marriage, you need to join us in Dallas. It can make all the difference in your lives. I mean, literally, I'm not exaggerating at all, but you can call us. And we've got Every Man's Battle. You hear us talk about these, and we want you to know about them because we know that we can help you in the situation that you might be in. So give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can go to newlife.com and click on events, and you'll see all of the different workshops there.
Becky, we had a caller who recently said, New Life is growing and changing, but I'm not. I feel stuck. And if you also feel stuck, question yourself, have I taken advantage of all these resources that New Life has to offer? Have I ever been to a workshop? Have I ever taken them up on coaching or on counseling? Because if you haven't, that may be part of the reason why you're stuck, and we know how to help get you unstuck. And the workshop is a fabulous place to do that.
That's right. Now, you know, just even with our opener talking about going to counseling, and then we're talking about workshops, I always think it's good when you're having a struggle, you have to ask yourself, what have I done about it?
Yes.
You know, and it could be counseling, it could be a workshop, but you got to make a move, and we can help you in that. Right now, we're going to talk with Lenny, who's calling us from Indiana, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Lenny. How can we help you today?
Hi. Listen to you folks all the time, and you are a blessing. What's going on right now has been going on for over 2 years. I'm married. I am married legally, and my wife kissed me goodbye one morning, told me she loved me, went to work, and when I woke up about 9 o'clock later that morning, I had messages and missed calls. She had been airlifted from work into Louisville, and when I got down there, they'd already seen a mass in her little head, and then she had an MRI later that day, and it was glioblastoma. So I don't want to talk too much about her story. But she was estranged from her children, 4 boys, for years and years. She had surgery, some of the greatest surgeons in the country, I'm sure, maybe even in the world. They removed what they could. It did leave her left side damaged. I spent the time in the hospital with her. I slept with her in the bed at night. I washed her up and made her presentable for everybody. And when it came time for her to leave the hospital and start some physical rehab and everything, she and her family opted to leave me. And she left me and went to live with her family. My story is I'm an alcoholic. I've been in recovery 7 years, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had my share of relapses. I'm 14 months now in and sober.
Okay.
So my question is this, and what spurred me to give you a call was I heard one of your shows last week, and they were talking about narcissism. And my wife left me more times than I could count through the course of we were newlyweds. We were only married a little over a year when this happened. And she had left me for a day, left me for 2-3 days. The longest time was a month and a half, but she had come back home, and we were working on our marriage when she became ill. So I eventually, when she said she wanted the rest of her stuff packed up to where her family could swing by and do a grab and go, I actually filed for a divorce. But I have retiree benefits through an employer that I retired from, life medical benefits, and she is using those for her treatment and things. And that was a moral issue on my part. I just couldn't let it go, you know. I'll be honest with you, I was angry for a long time, and it was through my recovery that I finally found out why I was angry. And I was angry because I didn't get the chance to be the husband that God expected me to be.
Lenny,
And
I want to praise your sobriety, 14 months of sobriety, and through such a difficult time that you were able to regain your sobriety. That's incredible. And I want to understand, with the multiple separations that occurred, was it mainly due to your alcohol uses at the time, or was there another significant problem for which she left?
No. When I met her, I was 3 years in and had so much joy that I was just busting wide open. After we were together about 6 months. And like I said, I don't want to talk about her simply because, you know, everybody has their story. But she wanted to be the sponsor. She wanted me to share with her, and she wanted me to talk to her. And it don't work that way. So I was forbidden to go to AA meetings and things like that. And 6 months into the relationship, I started drinking. So when she actually left, I was back working on my sobriety and doing pretty well, I thought, too, after she left and everything. And I stayed sober through the hospital stay and what have you. My wife is still here on earth.
And Lenny, you said you're still legally married, although you filed for the divorce, and I understand she has access to your benefits, which she's using for her medical care. What's the question for us? This is a really tough situation.
Well, the question is that I've accepted it all. I'm afraid I'm not ever going to get over it because I'm codependent also. And am I doing what God expects out of me? You know?
And that's referring to the divorce in particular?
I'm referring about doing what I can for better or worse, I suppose is the way to put it, you know.
Okay, well, Lenny, let's hear what...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's hear what Mark and Alice have to say about that. It has been a tough journey for you.
So, Lenny, you filed for divorce. Does your wife want to get a divorce? Do you want to get a divorce?
I didn't want the divorce when I filed for it, but I know the marriage relationship is over with.
So, does she want to get a divorce?
She doesn't have too much to say about it at all. My wife has mentioned about coming home twice. The first time she did, there was an issue with a family member that made a comment, about if it didn't work out. I'm not going to. The comment was, I have never hurt anybody in my life.
So
but if I hurt her feelings, then I was going to be in jeopardy of life.
Lenny,
you know
real
what I
quick,
mean?
how long have you guys been married?
Well, we've only been married a little over 3 years.
3 years. Okay, so you're very new into the marriage here, and lots of people actually struggle in the first few years of marriage, and so that's pretty typical here, and it sounds like. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to answer your actual question of, are you doing the right thing in God's eyes? It's really hard. And so, but what I would say to you is it sounds like there's probably more efforts maybe that need to be done with a professional. And that's what I would encourage you to do, even if she's not living with you right now. And again, she probably maybe has her own perspective and her own hurts, and she could even be feeling abandoned by you in her time of need, and now you filed for divorce. I don't know what's going on with her, but what I would encourage, hold on a second, Lenny, what I would encourage you to do, and hopefully we can help set you up, is to be set up with a counselor and do some sessions, even if they have to be online sessions. You know, I would love it if you guys could somehow get to intimacy in marriage that we have coming up here, so you could both physically, if it's possible for your wife in her condition to get there, so that we could have this intensive weekend with you, and we can help you, because I think from there then you'll have maybe a clearer picture of what maybe some of the underlying issues are, and learning to focus and work on those rather than some of the things that are on the surface right now.
Lenny,
neither one. This is not either one of our first marriage. Okay.
That's helpful to know.
I'm not really a young fella. I'm 60.
Well, you didn't sound like it.
Lenny, I respect that you are pausing to ask, what does God want me to do? And if you have significant doubt about the divorce, it very well may be that your conscience is being pricked, that perhaps not everything has been attempted that should be tried before a divorce. And hearing your wife say twice, maybe I should go back home, it sounds like there is a tiny little bit of room to work. And so you make me think, Lenny, about a rule of thumb in sobriety, that we're not supposed to make any big life-altering decisions. I think it's within the first year of sobriety. Now, you're at 14 months, so you're just past. But given the trauma of your wife's medical problem and then a later relapse into alcohol use, that's a very difficult time to be able to think clearly, to make a clear-headed, biblically based decision. And so I think God is asking you, put the brakes on, double check. Have you made all the confessions you should about how your alcohol use affected your wife? Have you made amends to her yet? And if you haven't yet reworked all of the 12 steps with your marriage as part of the focus of the 12 steps, then I would say probably not yet. Don't complete the divorce yet. Romans 14:23 tells us that when we act without faith, we're falling short of the mark. And so if we're doing something with great doubt, then it's time to put the brakes on and reevaluate.
Yeah, I love that.
And just real quick, Lenny, I just encourage you, don't label your wife as narcissistic if you don't really know for sure, because oftentimes it's easy for us to say, oh, you have this problem and that's why things are this way. And when we do that, it can sometimes stop us from looking inside and seeing what our part of it is.
And Lenny,
Yes,
if you have not gone back to AA or recovery or found a new sponsor, that also would be on that list, because you're right, your wife probably shouldn't be your sponsor. And it's really powerful when you're in these times of decisions, like you just said, Alice, to delay. Don't make just don't make a hasty decision. But it could give you a lot of clarity and support whatever the decision ends up being.
And I'll acknowledge too, Lenny, that our advice, in a way, it's very unfair. Your wife left you. Your wife is abandoning you. And there are biblical grounds to go through a divorce because of that. But God also asks us to fully clean our side of the street because our behavior has impacted our spouses. In every marriage it does. And so your heart must be broken and angry, as you said, that she left you when you were taking care of her. It's very difficult to understand your wife's decision. So we heard that part of the situation as well.
I didn't.
We will.
I never much believed in soulmates, but I do know that my soul fell in love with her, and that's where I'm at right now. As far as salvaging the marriage and calling her a narcissist, no. But what I meant by the narcissism was I listened to a book called Divorcing a Narcissist, and on my radio, and I just followed the whole time.
Lenny, sorry. We are going to go to a break. So I just wanted you to know, we're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible, and we're going to get you connected with a Life Recovery group, maybe online if you don't have one near you. But we are glad you called, and we'll be praying for this situation. We're going to be back after this break.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 3rd through the 5th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We were just talking about recovery, and we have a Life Recovery Conference that's online, Life Recovery Connection. It's going to be October 7th, and you can join us there, and it will encourage you in your own recovery, as well as if you want to be part of our ever-growing Life Recovery groups family. We have groups that meet all across the country, and it's just amazing to see how God uses that in the lives of so many people. And we got a great deal going, and I just want to encourage you, that may be the step that you take today. Right now, we're going to go to the phones, and we're going to talk with Grady, who's calling us from Ithaca, New York, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Grady. How can we help you today?
Hello. I appreciate you taking my call today. I'll give you the question first. I know that's pretty good protocol. I'm feeling a sense of abandonment, like I'm the one doing the abandoning with my adult son, who is, I'm sorry, it's a bit hard to talk about. In close to 20 years of drug addiction, and recent events a month or so ago finally made me want to draw a hard line and kind of have any kind of contact reduced to a bare minimum in hopes of waking him up and wanting to get help. And so far, in a month, it doesn't seem to have any effect at all. And I feel like our relationship has always been fairly decent, but I feel really empty, and I feel like I'm abandoning him. He's homeless. But on the other side of the ledger, nothing is his fault. It's never the man in the mirror. It's me that's the problem. My wife, his stepmom, his mother, her partner. It's never him, and I don't know. I feel empty, and I feel like not helping him is worse than somehow still being there for him.
So sorry, Grady. It is so tough when you've been in that journey for so long and you're exhausted with all of it. Let's go to you, Alice.
Grady, is anyone accusing you of abandoning your son?
No, it's just my own mind.
It makes sense that you would go there because to cease contact with him or to cease supporting him in the ways you have before can feel like an abandonment, and it may look like abandonment from the outside. I looked up the definition of abandonment as you were talking, and it means to desert or to give up completely on a person. But I know that setting proactive and intentional boundaries is withdrawing intentionally and limiting your exposure, your communication, your financial support in order to generate change. And I've worked with folks struggling with addiction, Grady. I've worked in detox and rehabilitation centers. And so many who came through deep addiction, like what your son has gone through, 20 years of addiction, they have told me, if my family hadn't left me in that jail cell, if my family hadn't put my possessions out of the house and told me, you got to live somewhere else, I would not have changed. I needed to lose the privilege of being in close relationship with my loved ones in order to wake up. And for some folks, it takes a long time of losing contact over a period of time so that the pain of the loss generates the motivation to finally accept help. And so as you perhaps continue to struggle wondering, have you abandoned your son? I think that you need to bring that into close, maybe structured relationship with a coach, with a counselor, so that you can work through the what I would call a maladaptive belief. It's maladaptive to think I've abandoned my son. But if we can reframe that into I'm not abandoning my son, and if he'll go to a meeting, if he'll get help, I'll be there with him. I'll drive him there. I'll sit there at the meeting with him. All he has to do is make one healthy choice to accept the hand that's been offered to him. You're not giving up on your son completely, but you're both protecting your heart and allowing your son to experience loss with the hope that he will change.
Thanks.
Yeah, Grady, this is so hard because it's hard to watch a loved one go through pain, and we would naturally want to rescue them, and that's really God's story with us. He tried so many times when you read the Old Testament to rescue the Israelites, to send them messages. And he loves us so much, and that's where we get that inside of us, right? We have that same love that we want to rescue, we want to help. For your son, though, he's very, very much an adult here, and it sounds like he's not learned to become his adult self and take responsibility. And I would say probably the most loving thing that you could do is allow him to do that. And I want to affirm you, like Alice did, you're not abandoning him. In fact, you've probably given him so many chances, right? So many opportunities. And the Lord did that too, through so many prophets. And now it's time for your son to experience, where his choices had led him. Right. And sometimes we don't realize that Jesus is all we need until Jesus is all we have. So I think you're probably doing the most loving thing. But I mean, you'll leave the door open, right? If your son called you and took complete responsibility and said, it's all my fault, this is what I'm going to do, could you help me in some way as I help myself? I'm sure you would. Right. And so that's why I just want to encourage you with that. I know that you're a good dad, Grady.
Yeah,
Grady,
I know that. Yeah.
I was just going to say, you can hear the music, but we're going to take this quick break and we're going to come back because you have to deal with the feelings. That's what you're talking about, is the feelings of guilt and sadness. And I just before we go to the break, have you been part of a recovery group, whether it's been Al-Anon, codependence, anything like that?
I have not. No, I have not.
Okay. Okay, that may be your next right step. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is, because there are other people that have walked this same path, and they will be the light ahead of you, saying, you're going to be okay. It's going to feel really bad, but you're going to be okay. We're going to be back with you, Grady, after this break.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Grady, whose son has struggled with addiction for over 20 years. And right at the break, I was asking you, Grady, about finding support. You know, when you're on the other side of someone who's dealing or not dealing with addiction, it's an experience all of its own. Like, there's not he's got the problem and I don't have a problem. It's like we all got a problem. Yeah. And so what has kept you, just for clarification, Grady, what has kept you from taking steps towards your own recovery in this process?
I don't know. Probably I don't know if it's stubbornness or what. I've investigated doing that at various times, and you think life is too busy, but obviously you have to prioritize some things. And like you say, you think it's the other person's problem, but I do realize that it's eating me up, and it's not getting any easier. You're just trying to deal with it by myself, because I don't have the tools. I'm not equipped because I haven't gone through it before, but I've gone through it for a long time, I guess you could say.
That's right.
So, Grady, with that humble admission that you haven't worked a whole lot on yourself throughout your son's addiction, I want you to check on 3 things. And I think it will work best if you check on this in an Al-Anon group, a New Life recovery group, or with your own personal coach or counselor. Evaluate how you set that boundary with your son, because in our hurt and pain and anger as parents, sometimes we do make extreme statements. I'm never going to talk to you again. I hate you. I hate what you've done to me. That would be a very harsh but understandable way of addressing your son after all he has put you through. And Marc was pointing you towards a boundaries way of making that statement differently with more grace and truth. I'm very hurt by you. I can't trust you because of your ongoing substance use, so I'm going to back away. I'm going to limit my contact with you. I'm not going to support you financially until you're ready to get help. And then, by all means, call me and I will go with you and I will assist you in getting help. And then, Grady, I also want you to start looking at how much has guilt been driving you in the other attempts you've made to help your son previously. I've worked with a lot of families who unintentionally ended up supporting their child's addiction, whether it was by actively buying the alcohol for them or providing too much financial support that ended up going into substance use. So we make all kinds of imperfect attempts to help our children. And by acknowledging that and maybe even confessing it, I haven't known how to help you. I didn't get my own help. And son, I need to apologize for that. Now I'm getting my help. I want to change the way I've been dealing with this. And lastly, Grady, we're all imperfect parents. And if we can humble down and start admitting, as you did, I've been stubborn. I was too busy for you. I wasn't willing yet to look at myself. I've been an imperfect dad, and that has added to our family problem. And I'm working on it now, son. That models for your son what he's been unable to do on his own.
Sometimes, Grady, I think that we think because we're feeling discomfort, it's an indicator that we're doing the wrong thing. And oftentimes, actually, discomfort is an indicator that we're on the right path, right? I often say this to people, you can't jump into a swimming pool and expect not to get wet, right? Because the nature of water is wetness, right? And if you ever want to do any kind of growth, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be painful because that's the nature of growth. And oftentimes we get into this Christian mindset and we say, well, I don't have peace about this. But you know what? I don't see Jesus having peace when he was about to go to the cross, right? He had anxiety, right? And so sometimes that's, I just want to encourage you to think about that this may be your area of growth. And as Alice was saying, we teach a lot through modeling, right? You might be you have this judgment against your son, oh, he hasn't done the hard work. Well, maybe, right, it's your opportunity for you to do the hard work and model that for him.
I love that.
It's so funny how you guys, you've talked about it, like you're inside my mind a little bit. I just haven't pulled the trigger on several of those fantastic suggestions. So I was maybe kind of there on the edge, but hopefully you guys have somewhat pushed me off the deck and into the pool water, and maybe I can start to do some things that'll have a positive impact.
Listen, Grady, willingness is the hardest part. Surrender is the hardest part of our own recovery. And it sounds like you're about ready to do that. We're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible, which I think will be a good step in that direction. There are devotions in there and explanations about the steps. But I also want to invite you, Grady, to join us at our Life Recovery Conference, because I think it would be a great way for you to begin to learn about this whole process, and we're going to get you in touch with a coach or a counselor in your area. I know that your call has helped so many people because we think trying harder is going to help. And what Steve always says is trying harder just makes trying harder. And so we want to have a path and a process towards freedom. And we'll be praying for your son as well. And look forward to that future call when you call us back and say, you will never believe what I did. I went to group and I, started on this path, and we'll be praying along that line. We are so grateful for those of you who are supporting New Life in so many ways. We have Great Club New Life family. We have donors all across the country that are, and actually a couple across the world, that believe in what we do. We're helping people in life's hardest places. And one of those great people that's on staff with New Life is our Vice President of Development, Brian Blomberg. And Brian's in the studio today to encourage you and to help make sure that the ministry continues. Brian, thanks for being here today.
You are very welcome. And we received in the mail a great testimony from a guy who had attended one of our online Every Man's Battle workshops. Everything that you guys send to us in the mail, we read. Everything gets read. So we love it when you guys correspond with us. But so he says, I'm a 61-year-old man who has battled with sexual sin and addiction since I was 14 years old. I've been to every 12-step program faithfully, and I attend a Bible-based church, going to 2 Bible studies and 2 men's groups each month. I also attended an online Christian-based program for 9 weeks. And when I attended Every Man's Battle, I was on the verge of bankruptcy, and I couldn't afford the tuition. New Life gave me a scholarship. Otherwise, I would have not been able to attend. I was not very optimistic that a one-day, 10-hour web meeting could scratch my addiction. Well, I have to tell you, I was wrong. It was led by the Holy Spirit and a set of the most experienced and compassionate counselors I've ever met. It was a great breakthrough for me, and I'm extremely grateful. And it's a testimony that it's not only your giving is impacting people you don't know, but there's people out there that benefit for every gift that you give. Right now, we're in the middle of a match campaign, so everything that is donated right now will be matched by a group of donors, so the effect is your gift is double. Your gift can also go to our scholarship fund, just like this guy who was able to get a scholarship to attend a workshop. So the faces are real, the stories are true, and we're just grateful that we have the ability to reach people, and it's only because of your support. So thank you from the bottom of our heart.
I love that. Thank you, Brian. And, if you want to give, you can go to 1-800-NEW-LIFE or newlife.com. Donate button is there, but we are there to answer the call when you feel the urge to give. The Holy Spirit speaks in lots of different ways, and sometimes he uses people like Brian who can, just tell you the stories that we are hearing all the time. If you're part of Club New Life, we do special gatherings throughout the year, and we're going to have a Club New Life Zoom meeting, and it's not a meeting, it's a gathering, October 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific, but it's a time where we'll hear from Steve as well as connect with each other, and it's just one way that we like to stay in touch with our Club New Life family. But we're so grateful that you are doing what you're doing, Brian, and we're grateful for the donors who are giving, because you are making such a difference in the lives of so many people. And we're going to go back to the calls. We're going to take this call from Rhonda, who's calling us from San Francisco, California, listens on the app, and you can download the app wherever you get your apps, the Apple Store, or if you're an Android user, there's an app store there too, and it's free, and you can listen to the show as well as get all kinds of information and resources. Wow. Enough about that, but Rhonda, thanks for calling today. How can we help you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just love your show. I always learn something from it. I am calling because I need some advice. I have a nephew who's married and has 8-year-old twins, and over the summer, while they were on vacation, they decided to allow their 8-year-old twins to get permanent tattoos. And I am just having a hard time accepting that decision. I know it's their life. It doesn't involve me, but I'm going to be seeing them over Thanksgiving and just need help accepting that decision, because I think it's a terrible one.
That is tricky. It is tricky, and it is part of this new world we live in, isn't it? Well, Rhonda, you can hear the music. We're going to take a brief break, and then we'll get an answer to your question after this. It's so hard when there's so many unexpected things that occur in family. And like you just said, Rhonda, you just have, a strong feeling about it, but you're in a relationship with these people. They're part of family. So how do we make it the best that we possibly can? We'll have an answer to that. I know that Mark and Alice, who are so wise, can give us some insight to this difficult problem. We'll be back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family, or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step towards genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, you hear me talk about our workshops and all kinds of things, and there's still time in this year to make a difference in your life. So whether it's Every Man's Battle, our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop, whatever way it is, you need to be with us somewhere in this country. So go to newlife.com and check it out, or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE for more details. We're talking with Rhonda, who has a family situation where her 8-year-old nephews received permanent tattoos. You can't make this up, folks. And so she's wondering, you know, how do I deal with this? Mark and Alice, I know you have some wisdom, so let's go ahead and help Rhonda.
We're quite surprised by the young age of your nephews as well, Rhonda. Is this uncharacteristic of your sibling to allow something for such a young child that would shock other people?
Well, actually, it's my nephew who allowed his kids to do it. So it's not my sibling. But, and I'm not like super close with them, but we are going to be getting together for the holidays. And I just want to handle the situation well because I just think it's crazy.
I'm with you. I'm curious, not that maybe it matters here, but I am curious, what are the tattoos of and where are they?
They're on their upper arms, and the little boy got a sword, and the little girl got her astral or her Libra. She's a Libra. Got her.
And what does their mom think about this?
They both were there and consented.
Wow.
They had to sign forms. They were on vacation in Michigan and allowed it.
Well, I'm shocked. Yeah, I think it's really sad because obviously, one, I would wonder how an 8-year-old would have the pain tolerance to have that done. And number two, obviously, we know that, you know, they don't have the foresight to know how they're going to like this decision in the future. So it is a very shocking decision. I think for you, Rhonda, it makes a lot of sense why you're having a hard time accepting that, because that's the protective part of you that is looking out for these kids and reaching out of you thinking, gosh, this is not a great decision to make, and this is the potential to actually be a very hurtful decision for them. It's hard, though, when we see things happening in other people's lives and we don't really get to have a say. I mean, we have freedom of speech and we have, of course, as much as what a relationship may allow, but we can't control what happens in others' lives. But I wonder, what's your thought about, what are you afraid of what you might say to them?
Well, I just want to be able to not sound negative. I thought I could maybe ask the kids what made them decide to get those particular things, why they wanted them. My nephew and his wife both have a lot of tattoos, and I don't have any. I mean, I don't care about that. They're adults, and it's all fine. But I don't want to, I don't know, let my opinion somehow slip out or be portrayed in a way that could cause a rift in the family.
So, Rhonda, I'd have you decide then whether or not you can even broach the topic with them. This may be something that it's not the time to talk about, even when you're with them in person. But if you can approach it with gentle curiosity, withholding your criticism for the time being, I think that might be the best way to talk about it if you decide to, if you do not have a solid foundation of relationship with the parents. And perhaps I'd have you check in with God. Is your concern a call to action, a call to become a stronger influence in the lives of these twins? And so maybe it's not to come at it strong with truth about how concerning this is at this time, but rather a long-term plan of becoming more active in their lives so that over time you can be a good influence in the lives of these kiddos.
I love that. And, I think one of the challenges, because we hear these stories, I mean, we don't hear this story. This is quite shocking. So there's that. But we hear stories of families' division over lots of different things. And the more challenging part is to be loving, because, an 8-year-old can't make decisions like this. And then they're being raised in this home. And so you just said, Rhonda, about, I don't want to say something that's inappropriate. Well, here's where you can decrease some of that pressure. It's, whether you talk to a trusted friend, or you talk to us, and just let out some of the, I cannot believe this has happened. Because a lot of times when we just tuck that away, when we get into the situation, we're just like, it just comes out, because what is in us comes out at the most inopportune times sometimes. So I'm just, and so it may be also, if you are close with your nephew's parent, who is your sibling.
I am.
Okay. Is that how you found out about the tattoos, though?
Yes, it is. And
okay.
He feels the same way, but he is trying to maintain the relationship.
Right. Very.
And I don't really have a great relationship, but I just don't want, I don't know, it's just crazy.
It is. Well, what I would suggest before you see them in person, I would love for you to be able to see them in a picture, like if you have an opportunity to see them, so that your face doesn't drop and, have the big reaction. So maybe if your sibling can, provide that would be a good step. Alice?
When I know I'm going to face a difficult event and I'm not sure, will my emotions and will my tongue be in my control or out of my control, I recommend bookending the event, where I do a prayer check-in with someone who knows my heart and who's a good, safe companion to me. I do a prayer check-in right before the event. This is what I'm worried about. Pray for me for strength, and that the Holy Spirit would flow through me with the right words to say. And then I do a check-in afterwards. Did I stay in control? Did I say something I regretted? Because those bookend check-ins just help settle our heart and mind, and they give us a little infusion of grace, which helps with our self-control in the heat of the moment when you're actually facing the tattoos.
Yeah, that's right. And I think probably Rhonda, probably best not to even talk about the subject, because it's different if they were considering getting it done and you felt that protective part of yourself wanting to kind of intervene, but it's already been done at this point. And so you might want to, since it's not something that can be changed, maybe it's something that you may choose to not say anything about. And then if your niece or nephew or the kids do show you and say, wow, look at this, maybe you talk about, wow, you like swords, huh? Tell me about your love for swords, right? And so you really stop talking about the tattoo and you talk about the love for swords, right? And so sometimes having, knowing where you're going to go with it can help you if you do all of a sudden kind of get pushed into the conversation.
I love that. We're going to send you a copy of How We Love Our Kids, Rhonda, because I think not only that you would read it, but maybe you could gift it to your nephew for Christmas. I mean, just, on the slide. But I love what you just said, though, Mark, is that, you don't make a bigger deal out of it, but get curious and to become the safe person so that someday if they, need some help, they'll know that they can trust you with who they are. That is probably the hardest thing, is, to keep our mouths shut at times where we don't have any control in the situation, because you really don't. You're not a parent. You're just a concerned onlooker, and you have an opportunity, though, to express some love and some acceptance. And I know that's really hard for so many of us right now. We really want to be, the guardian of so many things, and we're going to be busy if we have to do that all the time.
And trying to accept another person's decision, it doesn't mean we endorse it, we agree with it, we're not putting our stamp of approval on it, but we're accepting that it's a choice that they made. And accepting helps to keep us more serene, and it helps us to stay in relationships so we can be a long-term influence with that person.
Very true. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. That's straight from recovery. And it doesn't mean we agree, but we just have to move through it. And God can give us that strength to do it. Thank you, Alice, and thank you, Mark. Thank you, callers. If you need anything, give us a call. We are there for you. Go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're going to help you. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.